What's going on, YouTubeites? Welcome to a special Monday night live edition. Dare I say Monday Nitro? We got a special long-term spec report for you guys. My man Mikey Sutton just dropped this on me over the weekend, so I had to gather the forces of good here to drop it on you guys. It's some interesting stuff, some stuff we've already talked about in the past, and some more confirmation about some stuff that's upcoming. And this is what we've kind of connected the dots, and it's pretty weird and interesting where we're going with this, with both the original Secret Wars and the new Secret Wars. But since it's the middle of October, I want to set the mood right. I'm starting to feel the Halloween spirit, so let's drop a little remix on you. What's cracking, everybody? Little Mike Myers for you, starting to get into the Halloween spirit. Even though it's 95 degrees outside, I got my AC on and I'm sweating balls, and it's only October 12th. Speaking of sweating balls, say what's up, Otto.
Yeah, that's it. Otto is back, baby. Out of his prime in the house. Can't wait to hang out with the Lord tonight after watching the Cranky Canadian with Sith Lordly. Then I watched Erod with Joker M21, and now I'm here hanging out with you guys, man. So that's 3 hours of great YouTube content coming at you live tonight. Awesome.
Who would have known Mondays are so busy? Shout out to my man Manimal. Say what's up to the good people.
What's going on, everyone? Looking forward to talking about this spec list. It's a little convoluted, it's a little tricky, but it's a little fun as well. You know, some new ideas in here, and it's kind of leaning heavy into some of the things we've talked about in the past. And like I said,
two words for you. 2 words for you guys. Man.
Man, yeah.
Shout out to Six Phase Comics for the $5 super chat. Appreciate you, brother, for the jams. When is Sith gonna start managing you? Right? Sith Lordly told everybody he had gold records from his soft rock days back in the 90s when he was in Hollywood. Shout out to everybody in the live chat. Man, Sith Lordly holding it down with the Branchland with JLS Comics, Sparks Comics, Manuel Diaz, Al Picknell, Lenny Cerna. I think Manimal dropped off here. I'll bring him back in. I don't know what happened.
Appreciate it.
You off there for a second, man. It's the zombies, man. It's the remix. It got to you. Shout out to everybody in the live chat. So, my man, this is, by the way, this is part 1 of a long-term scoop list, long-term spec list. These are characters that are being researched, and we've been talking about it for about a year now. About the next big Marvel event, Endgame level event, is going to be Secret Wars. And we've been piecing together this for probably the last 8-9 months, that it was going to be a mix of both the original miniseries from 1984, 85, and the 2015 Jonathan Hickman run, because the old, sometimes these older storylines, they need to be revamped for modern day. So from what I can ascertain by connecting these dots, and I just got a list from Mikey Sutton and say, hey, these characters are being researched right now. And from what I could tell, it looks like they're drawing a lot from the 2015 Battleworld's Hickman Secret Wars run and the original Marvel Superhero Secret Wars run. I know that's a mouthful. So it's some interesting stuff on the spec list. And, I think Hickman is doing a lot for Marvel right now. So obviously they like where he's going. Like I said, some of the original Secret Wars stuff kind of bleeds into the Sony world a little bit, if you know what I mean, right? With the symbiote and everything. So we don't know how Marvel is planning to integrate the symbiote storylines, so to say. I meant that, and anyway, that's been kind of retconned as well. So let's get right to it. Before we get to it, let's just bring up our sponsors, man. The show is sponsored by our friends at Rocket Comics. Go to Rocket Comics, tell them the Lord sends you, get 20% off your first pressing order. The show is also sponsored by our friends at the Geeky Swag Shop. Go to geekyswagshop.com. Use the discount code of LOTLB to get 10% off anything in the Geeky Swag Shop. Also, our friends at KRS Comics, go to KRScomics.com. Use discount code LOTLB to get 15% off any KRS Comics exclusives. Speaking of which, I just mailed off all the winners of the 5,000 subs giveaway, all 5 of you, and each of you won at least a set of KRS Comics variants. The first 2 winners, Lana Espinosa, Joseph Hernandez, won slabs, and the rest of you all got KRS Comics as well as a trade dress variant, or a trade paperback. So thank you all. Make sure you check us out tomorrow. Tomorrow we be at 6 p.m. at the same time, boys and girls. We will have the cover price top 10. So I think you know what this calls for, since this is kind of breaking news. I think it's time for Cannonball.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen. Cannonball!
All righty, boys.
Love it.
As I was saying at the top of the show, this is a list of characters that Marvel Studios has been given to research for Kevin Feige to be developed for their next big, I guess I want to say just Endgame level event threat, where they put all the characters together as a crossover, kind of like a comic book crossovers, right? So let's get right to it, boys and girls. The first one we've spec'd before, and we're spec'ing again. Who has the Wrecking Crew on their list?
That's right, I do. So when we're coming up to the Wrecking Crew, remember, for those of you guys who remember Secret Wars, they played a decent part in the Secret Wars miniseries. The Wrecking Crew consists of Wrecker, Piledriver, Bulldozer, Thunderball. They have ties to Thor. They battled Thor, Iron Fist. They were part of the Masters of Evil, but they definitely had an underlying tone with them in the Secret Wars as far as like lackeys and stuff like that. But you can definitely see them coming up. First appearance, Defenders, number 17. You might want to go out and get that. That's a Len Wein, Sal Buscema book. And good storylines. The first characters are all in there and just really good stuff. And maybe, who knows, it'll spike up. We'll have to see what happens with these books. But yeah, the Wrecking Crew, the Defender 17 is what you want to go after if you're looking for them.
So we're not going to give away too many details because remember, this is part 1. So if you ask, I'm getting part 2 tonight, which will probably drop Wednesday or Thursday because give us time to research it. But this is only part 1 of the list. So I'm still getting, it's a huge multi-film project that they're planning. So if you that's why I'm telling you, this is a mix of both the Jonathan Hickman run from 2015 and some of the stuff from the original Marvel Secret Wars. The original Marvel Secret Wars, the Wrecking Crew actually go on the Beyonder side. If you remember, they go to a place called Battleworld where they fight. The Beyonder basically is bored. He wants people to fight. So he has the heroes fight along villains, and some of the villains take the Beyonder side. And speaking of which, next thing up to me in research, believe it or not, is the aforementioned Battleworld.
Right. So like Tim said, Battleworld, we originated back in the Marvel Superhero Secret Wars #1 miniseries way back in 1984, where only probably Tim was old enough to be collecting books at that time.
Yeah.
But,
that's right, yeah.
Anyway, so Battleworld, the original, we had the main villain was the Beyonder, who like Tim said, transported all these heroes and villains to this arena, which he called his Secret Wars. And it was basically an amalgamation of all these planets, and he had heroes fight each other. So that was the old school 1984. Now, one thing to know about that is Beyonder is actually part of a race of beings also known as Beyonders. Because Marvel probably couldn't figure shit out and couldn't retcon it well enough. But that takes us forward to the 2015 miniseries Secret Wars 2, which talks more about the battle world there. And that kind of stems off of Jonathan Hickman's run in the Avengers, New Avengers, crossed over a lot. And in this,
when we get further down in the list, I'll let you expand on it further when we actually talk about the ruler of it. Right. You know what I mean? But the reason I brought up this graphic is because there's, like you said, there's 2 versions of Battleworld. The first one appeared in Marvel Superhero Secret Wars #1. The second one was actually a kind of crossover book, what I'm saying, a pre-tie-in book, which is this weird Armor Wars half issue, features the first appearance of the Battleworld of the Jonathan Hickman run, believe it or not. So this is one of those weird comics that you would have never thought about. There was like 3 or 4 titles that led into the Battle Worlds, the regular Secret Wars. Remember how there was like a countdown for Incursion and then a countdown to, I mean, there were so many tie-ins to these, but
it was horrible trying to get them all and read them all. It was a nightmare.
I think originally it was only supposed to be 6 or 7 issues, ended up getting delayed and pushed back. It ended up running 9 issues, and
it was supposed to finish during summer, and it didn't finish till like December or something like that.
So it started off with a bang and kind of ended on a bit of a whimper, like most, and obviously Marvel is guilty of this, as well as DC. They kind of have a tendency to stretch these things out, and then it just kind of becomes anticlimactic after a while. I don't know if it's because of the delays or if people get exhausted from the events. But I mean, if you think about the original Marvel superhero Secret Wars, that was a huge book for its time, because up to that point, only Contest of Champions really had that many characters in a mini series event, right? Contest of Champions is the first ever Marvel miniseries, believe it or not. I'm still looking for those 3 because I think it doesn't hold any first appearances, but I think it's interesting since it's the first ever. All right, so next up, so that is Battle World. So you have the Beyonder Battle World, which is Secret Wars #1, and you have what they call Hyperion, which is an Armor Wars half issue. So just a fun book. I mean, I wouldn't spend too much on it, but just so you know what they're planning, it could be either one of these or an amalgam of both, as Zach said. All right, next up is an oldie but goodie.
Jeez, that's it. ASM 250.
Finally.
The Black Suit Spider-Man, Secret Wars 8, Marvel Team Up 141. Now listen, you're going to have this conversation. When you look at the CGC label, Marvel Team Up 141 and Secret Wars 8, they say are tied, right? But the reality of it is, in my opinion, and that's really the only thing that matters, it's Secret Wars 8, because that is when Spider-Man encountered the symbiote and attached himself to Peter Parker on that planet at that time. That happens right here, folks. And I read that off the rack. So you're not going to tell me as a 12-year-old kid that I didn't know what I was reading. And that was the first time you're going to see this. So
allow me to tell you as a 60-year-old adult then, for those who really want to play this game, the Black Suit Spidey first appeared in Comics Journal number 85.
Oh, zing, zing. There you go.
So for those who like playing this game of what's the first appearance in a piece of advertisement from a magazine or a journal. So actually there was a Amazing Heroes and another, like one of these magazines that showed Black Suit Spidey before these Black Suit Spideys. But I went on this binge like 4 years ago where I got the first Black Suit Spidey in all the Spider-Man titles. There's a Spectacular Spider-Man, obviously Web of Spider-Man, even though it's way, late, but it's still one of the coolest covers. But, we always talk about, as a collector, everybody must have these in their collections. And speaking of which, I got a 252 back from CGC. I still have to show it. Did I get a 9.8? Did I get a 9.8? You'll have to wait and see. But next up is Black Suit Spider-Man. And I got this list verbatim. They didn't tell me it was Venom or Spider-Man. I was specifically told Black Suit Spider-Man. What that means, I don't know. If Peter Parker gets taken over by the symbiote, right now the symbiote is attached to. I just watched that again last night, by the way. Venom. It was on TV. It wasn't so bad. I mean, it was a little goofy, a little over the top. And was it rated R? Because it's pretty fucking violent, man. He's eating people's heads off. But
I think it was rated R. I don't know. We have to find out.
No, because it didn't actually show him eating the heads.
Oh yeah. But it was kind of goofy, but it wasn't nearly as bad as people said it was. But interesting that its verbiage is Black Suit Spider-Man. Now, does that mean he just dons a black suit, or does the symbiote leave Eddie Brock and become part of Spider-Man for it? I don't know. For me, it's hard for us to say one way or the other. We know Marvel and Sony are working together. I think in order for them to do the Secret Wars they want to do, and Kevin Feige is a comics historian, he would love to do the symbiote taking over Peter Parker. That would be a great story. You know what I mean? All right. So Black Suit Spider-Man, whichever one you want, is being researched for Secret Wars movie. And if you really want to go off the deep end, go look up Comics Journal number 85 if you have that somewhere in your dustbin or litter box if you're a cat collector. All right, next up is a character we've already foreshadowed, so it's kind of important, but this kind of tells you that it could be either the Hickman run or the original run, that they are researching the Beyonder for this.
Right. That's so you got the Beyonder, who obviously plays the character, the Beyonder, plays a more important role in the original Secret Wars storyline. He's the one who transports all the heroes and villains to Battleworld to fight. In the Hickman run, in the Battleworld Hyperion, it's actually the race of Beyonders that Dr. Doom kind of goes up against, which then creates the modern era of the battle world. It's kind of how he gets his power from the race of Beyonders. So the Beyonder in general is an interesting character that we can see kind of come in, whether he's singly the Beyonder or it's like this, just the race of Beyonder aliens or whatever. You know what I mean?
And the original Beyonder was a bit agnostic. He wasn't good or evil. Remember the sequel to Secret Wars where he had that mullet and the shoulder pad suit, and he was just kind of the
Miami Vice.
He was like this curious, all-powerful being who wanted to understand what humanity was about, right?
Well, I mean, so he's actually like a young version of the Beyonders. So he's kind of a younger. He's not fully developed, and like you said, he's still trying to figure out who he is, and he's not doing anything to be malicious necessarily.
Yeah. So if you really go deep into the weeds of Hickman and read Battle Worlds and Secret Wars, the Beyonders are basically pre-Galactus. And where, if I correct, and the Beyonders are the spark of life of this universe. So there's a character that's tied to all the different multiverses.
Yeah, and I can't believe he's not on this list.
That's why I'm saying it may be in part 2, but that's why we can't tell when we drop the second part of this, then we can drop the entire story on this one interesting character that's tied to them all in part 2, which was a really curious selection, and because nobody had taken him serious up to that point, but it just shows how you can take a rebooted character and then make him important again. For those who read the 2015,
like 2 copies of his first appearance. So
there you go. I mean, if he comes on the screen, those of you who read it will probably know, but we're not going to spoil it for you yet. If he's not on the second part of the long-term spec list, I will then drop it. We'll drop it out because it's curious that he's on here. But then I remember this is only part 1. We're going to get part 2 tonight. Shout out to Archangel 0891 for the €3 super chat. I believe that's a euro. Thank you very much. Anyone seen the Null Swirl in the Hellstrom trailer? Yeah, I seen it on this movie called what's that horror movie with the little Jigsaw? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't think there's anything to the Null Swirl in that. I think that's just a little circle. If it is, then Jigsaw was the one to have it first. And if anything, Cates and his artists saw that swirl and they stole it from Jigsaw and they used it for Null. But it'd be interesting to see if it happens. But immediately I think it was Matt Forge, the butcher, the first ones I saw the trailer, and he dropped the video like the next hour, just saying, "Look at what we found," and people went nuts. But it'd be interesting. But either way, thank you for the €3 super chat. Look at that, we're international. All right, so the Beyonder is being researched, so that's interesting. That bridges both the original Marvel Superhero Secret Wars as well as the Hickman, because there's a race of Beyonders. All right, next up is I'll take care of this one because I kind of like this one. Hyperion is being researched, and this character is interesting because he spans both storylines. His first appearance is Avengers number 69. He appears as King Hyperion in Secret Wars number 2. I wasn't given the word King Hyperion. I was just given Hyperion. So I researched, and sure enough, Hyperion appears in the original, in the Secret Wars, the Hickman run. I don't think he appears in the original, but either way, I put the first appearance of Hyperion, Mighty Avengers number 69, since it's a great book, and it's the number 69. But anyway, King Hyperion runs a place called Utopolis, I believe, in Secret Wars. So if you don't know, and Zach will explain it on the next graphic, but what happens is the incursion is the Ultimates universe crashing into the Marvel 616. And what happens is Doom does whatever he can, and he pieces a little bit of each multiverse to create Battleworld, which is a bunch of different worlds. So therefore you see Hyperion in some places. You're going to see the characters that appear on the next. I put 3 of them because it's the same comic. So it's this issue really that has a lot of first appearances. And if you read, I know a lot of people didn't like it and didn't read it all the way through, but it's pretty interesting the concepts that Hickman went, and it just went really, really far off. And it introduced a lot of different levels of characters and characterizations. And basically the whole thing just ended with a mulligan and resetting itself. It's what Marvel and DC does. Let's push it, kill everybody, and let's just bring them all back, but it's just the nature of the beast. You should be used to it by now. It's like hearing Mariah Carey during Christmas. It's inevitable. You're going to get these reboots and everything's going to happen. So Hyperion is being spec. The reason I put these both up, I don't know if it's just going to be regular old Hyperion or the King Hyperion version that's in Secret Wars issue number 2. So look out for both. I think the first one is rather expensive, but I think Secret Wars number 2 is all over the place, and I think there's a ton of variants for it too. But you never know. But Hyperion, regardless, is still a cool character. Marvel's ripoff of Superman, not Sentry. It was first Hyperion. All right, next up is the same book, but 3 characters, maybe 4, may actually 3 characters, but potentially a ton more. What do we got, Zach?
So we've got, first off, we're going to talk about Sheriff Strange, and kind of to give a little bit of background, kind of like what Tim was talking about. This all stems out of the Secret Wars 2, all stems out of Hickman's run on Avengers and New Avengers. And you had, in a nutshell, without going too much in the weeds, you had these incursions where planets in different universes were showing up in the 616, and the Avengers were having to destroy these planets to protect Earth 616. Well, it all kind of comes out that there's a certain character that is very key to these different planets, which we don't want to give away. Tim will talk about in the following version of this. But you had Dr. Doom get the power of the Beyonders to create his own battle world. So he put together and rescued all these different realities and formed together different zones, if you will, like with King Hyperion. And in helping him, his right-hand man, his sheriff, if you will, was Doctor Strange, who then becomes Sheriff Strange of the Beyonder or the Battle World. That was kind of his like go-to guy.
I think his name is Sheriff of Agamotto.
Yes.
Or something along those lines. Yeah.
But it's the Doctor Strange from the Avengers, the Illuminati Doctor Strange. It's not an alternate universe.
It's one of the few people in Battleworld that actually remembers what happens. It's Doctor Doom and it's Doctor Strange at first.
Correct. So, and then Doom, as you can see, becomes God Emperor Doom because of all the power that he has, and he creates all these planets, and he basically just runs Battleworld. And he forms what we call the Thor Corps, which honestly is kind of very similar to the Captain Britain Corps. It's just a version of
like a police force
characters having Mjolnir who get the power of Thor and become like his law enforcement police arm. It's super similar to the Captain Britain Corps for the most part.
Yeah, because actually there is a Captain Britain type of thing. Hell, there's even a Shang-Chi battle world in that where he like multiplies himself and all kinds of. That's why, man, you got to go deep into the weeds. So the 3 I got from this list from Mikey Sutton was God Emperor Doom, Sheriff Strange, which is the Sheriff of Agamotto. Basically, it's Doctor Strange, and he's basically kind of Emperor Doom's right-hand man because they believe Emperor Doom to actually be a deity or god, and so he sits at the tree of Yangtze. How do you say that word in Thor? Yeah, so he sits at the tree of Yggdrasil, and the Thor Corps report to him. So it's a whole bunch of these different Thors, and the truest to the Thor of the 616 is who they consider young Thor, and the Secret Wars #2 starts with young Thor lifting Mjolnir, and you see him on the cover right there of young Thor. You also see Beta Ray Bill. I think at one point there may be a Throg in there, but this is different than the original Thor Corps from, I believe, the late 80s, early 90s, which was I think what is this, Thunderstrike, Throg, and some other characters. But you may see, like, this is one of those things where Thor Corps Battleworld resurrected a lot of old kind of Marvel storylines, from Secret Wars to Thor Corps to a bunch of other cats. I mean, it really went deep into the weeds. I mean, you'd have to read the trade again because it's really out there. And obviously Doom is the main antagonist, but then you're going to see later on in the story that, you know, there are some characters, and Sheriff Strange is the kind of one that, how do I say it, what awakens some people or tells them there's a life raft that's involved right before the incursion. Then you think of incursion as the moment where the Ultimate Universe collides with the Marvel 616. And there's a life raft that's put aside for some of the Marvel heroes, but they've been in hibernation for like 8 years. And I won't go any further than that because then I'd be going into spoiler territories, because next up on the list is a team that we've been talking about a long time now. You should be getting this already. Illuminati is being researched for the Secret Wars, and it makes perfect sense, even though the Illuminati formed long before the Secret Wars in 2015, but long after the original Marvel Secret Wars. They play a part in the Battleworld 2015 Jonathan Hickman run. So this goes more to when we said they're forming an Illuminati. I think we expect that, just like we told you guys about the Thor Corps almost a year ago. There you go, man. Hey, get this long-term specs while they're cheap, because you never know. Our stuff doesn't break for another year, but hopefully you heard about this time. If you hadn't heard, HBO Max announced the characters are being used for the Green Lantern Corps show, we had them on our long suspect list. We had Guy Gardner, Simon Baz, Jade, Salak, Gnort, Kilowog, and Alan Scott. So we got 4 of the 7 there, and there's more from what I've been told. Hal Jordan and Kyle Rayner are going to be coming as well. What I was told that Jon Stewart is being held, and he will not be in the HBO Max series. What that means is he's being held for the DC EU. So they're going to go with the Jon Stewart version of the DC for the DCU, and you may see the Hal Jordan be the mentor of the Green Lantern Corps for the HBO Max series. As soon as I get more on that, I'll drop it on you. But we've been talking about this. It's right there, October 30th, 2019, almost a year ago to this very day, where the news dropped the other day. So shout out to Mikey for giving us that one. So hopefully we'll get some more news on that. But that's what I'm hearing so far. That's why you haven't heard Jon Stewart's name being news, because they're saving him for the movie universe, and these characters are going to be developed for the HBO Max series. All right, one more on the list. You want to take this, Otto?
Yeah, we like this. This is the Enchantress right here. We're getting.
I like how Otto talks like he's Venom sometimes, and he says, "We like this.
We like this one right here." That's right. No, we like this because this is right up my alley. This is Silver Age stuff right here. Journey into Mystery 103. April of 1964 it came out. You've got Thor on the cover, Larry Lieber, Stan Lee's story, and now you can see how you're trying to get some of. You've got the Thor core in here. You've also got, you're bringing in some more magic with the Enchantress. And now you're going to see how this really, really evolves. You're probably going to have Scourge in there as the Executioner. And we'll bring all the storylines into the Secret Wars and Battleworld. And you don't know if she's going to be a protagonist or an antagonist or how she's going to work. But, you put a hot chick on her, a good actress, and she makes a good play, So it's going to be a good character.
Yeah. So Amora, or aka the Enchantress, was part of the original Secret Wars storyline. She and the Wrecking Crew took the side of Beyonder to fight the heroes, and that's why when I saw her and the Wrecking Crew on this list, I goes, they're pulling this out of the original Secret Wars. Enchantress does not appear, I believe, to at least have a major role in the battle world at all. If anything, she may be in the Thor core storyline, but she did play a rather significant role, being that she fought the heroes that the Beyonder. So basically, it just set up perfectly how the heroes all decided to fight for the Beyonder, because it's like, we don't like the good guys, so let's just fight them. But either way, a character that has not yet been used for 3 Thor movies, possibly 4 Thor movies. But
a big Thor character too. Probably the largest character missing from the Thor mythology right now.
Yeah,
in the comics,
if you think about it,
movies.
Yeah. And if you, we'll talk about this too, because so there you go, Enchantress #1, and we'll talk about some movie stuff that just dropped. So make sure you tune in. Tomorrow we're going to do a cover price top 10, but we're going to have part 2 of this list. Probably Wednesday or Thursday. I'm getting it tonight. Then depending on the guy's schedule, we're going to drop it again. So if you didn't hear, Natalie Portman in an interview with Yahoo Entertainment basically gave up the storyline, and sure enough, they're doing Jason Aaron's Mighty Thor run. She said she's going to have cancer and she's going to be the female Thor. So there you go. But the other news was that Chris Hemsworth said he's not going anywhere. So it looks like this could be a one and done storyline. But either way, people have been specking it as soon as they said that she's coming back, that yes. And they are going to do that it's very specific. If that Mighty Thor run where Jane Foster has cancer and is the female Thor. So, which is a great storyline, by the way. I don't want to give away spoilers, but how she sacrificed herself was pretty epic, man. One of my favorite things to do, because, a lot of people are like, but it was kind of funny because, remember it was a mystery who, it was like all comics mysteries are always the worst. Like everybody would guess it was Jane Foster, right?
Right. Yeah.
Just like who is going to be, Rodney, whomever. Everybody always guess it. Dylan, and whatever. People are always going to guess it. So there you go, man. So we got part 2 of this list coming later this week, and then we're going to get you that for you guys. So we're going to run it through. Here you go. In quick time. There you go. Wrecking Crew. First appearance, Defenders, 17 from 1974. Battleworlds, Latverion or the Beyond World is Armor Wars half issue and Secret Wars #1. Black Suit Spider-Man, all those issues. And if you really want to go deep in the weeds, Comics Journal number 85 and other preview issues. But Black Suit Spidey's coming. Don't know if it's going to be a symbiote or just a black suit. My guess is somehow the symbiote's going to leave Eddie Brock and go over to Peter Parker for this. The Beyonder, of course. So this is, look, now we have a mix because the Beyonder and the Beyondors are both in Secret Wars original, and the plural version of them is Secret Wars 2015, where their histories get fleshed out in a much more powerful race of beings. Hyperion, who is also King Hyperion in Secret Wars #2 that came out in 2015. God, Emperor Doom, Sheriff Strange, and the Thor Corps first appear in Secret Wars #2. That is directly from Battleworlds, the 2015 version. The Illuminati first appearance, Avengers #7. They are post Secret Wars, the original one, but they were around years before Battleworld came around. So, but they do play an important role in the Jonathan Hickman Battleworld run. And the Enchantress first appearance, Journey into Mystery #103. She and the Wrecking Crew both play a part in the original Secret Wars, where they fight on the side of the Beyonder. And that's it, boys and girls. Any last words, Zach?
No, just like I said, fun little group of spec right here to look into. You know, you can go down that rabbit hole, Secret Wars 2, if you really, really want to.
We'll get the trade, and because there's a ton of tie-ins too. So
yeah,
you know.
It's insane, and there's a lot of unreadable stuff in there too. But no, man, you know, like there's some good stuff, and there is one big character missing, and it'll probably show up in part 2, hopefully, which has a lot of history and a lot of fun collecting with that guy.
There are 3 major characters in the Hickman run. It's Strange, Doom, and one other character that we haven't brought up. But hopefully he's on there, because it's kind of expensive already, but it's still interesting. If that appears on the long-term spec list, that means they're going full on Hickman, and this is pretty ambitious, I must say, to think that they're going to pull this off. But depends on what happened. We already know. We didn't even talk about it yet. Doctor Strange has been confirmed to return for Spider-Man 3. So there you go. So that means you're going to see Doctor Strange and Into the Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man #3. That kind of leads to all the stuff we've been telling you guys about the multiple Spider-Men that are coming. Going to be Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland. And Doctor Strange, the perfect conduit to get to different multiverses and different Spider-Verses. So that's fucking... Yo, they're going crazy, man. I think Kevin Feige was stuck in quarantine. Yo, you think that's big? Wait for this. Been stuck at home thinking of some crazy stuff. But so there you go, man. Doctor Strange coming. Man, I just wish they could start filming again. So, Otto, any last words?
No, great show tonight. Good to see everybody in a live chat. Good 3 hours of YouTube going on tonight. Check us out tomorrow night, and then whenever Tim gets the second part of this list,
top 10 tomorrow.
Overpriced top 10, and then maybe Thursday, and then 3 Men in the Basement going live this Friday night. Got a lot of things to talk about, so make sure you guys sub up and comment and check out some of our videos. And that's about it. Tim, Manimal, good seeing you guys tonight. Good to see everybody in live chat. I'm glad everybody's doing well. So,
yeah, we will see you not tomorrow, Otto, because you're a bartender, right?
That's right. I have to work. Otto is back.
Me and Manimal and maybe Darkside Jedi. And,
I won't be there tomorrow either.
All right, so me and Darkside Jedi and possibly Justin. So that's why we have like 5 team members, because everybody is super flaky and got stuff to do. So, interesting stuff. Scott Adkins, the martial arts actor, has a YouTube channel, and he interviewed a guy that is doing the stunt fights for Shang-Chi. And he's part of Jackie Chan's stunt team, which is fucking awesome. That means they're going real. It's old school Hong Kong martial arts guy. Go check out Scott Adkins. He was in Doctor Strange. Remember, he was one of the minions that he killed when in the operating scenes. That's Scott Adkins. He's like he's like a martial arts star. But hey, we will see you guys tomorrow. At least some of us will, for the Cover Price Top 10. And until next time, boys and girls, keep digging into the long boxes. Peace out. Remix.